where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, VHS82 apostrophe. It is week 455. It is the second weekend, therefore it is label week. It is MVD, the Rewind collection. Not specifically, but that is what I have. Mortuary, right? Howard Avedis, if that's how you say it. Director I'm new to. I really don't think I know anything really he has done before, but I am pretty familiar with the cast, and I know if you've never seen Mortuary, you're probably very familiar with the cast too. This is a 1983 film, of course, released before MVD. It was released by Scorpion, actually, back in, I'm guessing, 2014. Now, with MVD, they've been around since 1986, but specific this Rewind collection label that they're doing has been around since, I want to say, 2017. I'm going to say 2017. I know they got well over 8,000 titles. Not since 2017, but since 1986. The 2017 aspect of their label, the Rewind collection, is really it's really like it's like going back to the old retro VHS glory days. Their slipcover, you can see with the slipcover, it's sort of kind of the worn look. And this kind of some of the stickers on the front that you would see on a VHS tape. And so that's kind of like the appeal, right? It's kind of like, they relish in finding movies that maybe never have come to Blu-ray, maybe never even came to DVD, and it's seeing a release for the very first time. And there is the, of course, the blue. That is a VHS cover I would have rented as a kid, I'm sure, or maybe seen advertised in an HBO book or something. But inside, no reversible or anything, but what you do get is a very interesting or cool mini poster, man. Check this out. Ooh, there you go. So, you get that, man, and if you, really were a huge fan of MVD, here's something that you could collect, frame, have it on a wall, and probably get a lot of them in one area. The thing with MVD, Glenn mentioned this on Monday, and how much that he had to spend. I think he paid $37, I want to say, for his split second. Well, a lot, and some of that is unfortunately living in Canada. But I did a quick look at MVD because I'm not that familiar. It seemed like an awful lot of money, especially considering I only paid like $16 for Mortuary, and I know Sam, our Thursday reviewer, only paid a few dollars more for his One Dark Night, which I revisited that with him the other day. I'm gonna say that is a really fun movie. If you've never seen it, or it's been ages since you have seen it, that was fun to revisit. But and he'll be telling you all about that on Thursday. But I did look at the prices real quick, and I think a lot of it has to do with the variance of prices. They go as low as basically $15 to here stateside as much as $27.30. And I think a lot of that has to do with the extras. If when you look at the films that are going to be dropping, the reviews are going to be dropping throughout the week, if you were to just pick those up off of Amazon right now, you'd be spending anywhere from 15 to 27, 16 to 27, and and some varied in between there. But if you take a look at the extras and what you're getting, that's where the variance is, I do believe. When you look at something like Glenn's split second, he got tons of stuff in there. I really didn't get anything in my Mortuary. I'm not really that disappointed with that necessarily, although I think I do have a commentary, though. I may. But there's not really much on here. The mini poster, the slip, but not the range of extras, say, Glenn got on his, or some of the others in the group have on theirs. And so, so with this is a label that if I don't know if it's a great label to try to just collect as a completist. You are going to be throwing money all over the map, and it really is probably going to depend on how many extras you got on that specific film on the disc, right? Anyways, so a little bit, enough of that on MVD. A little bit about the movie, though. Mary Beth McDonough, of course, Walton's fame. She's our main lead girl here, Christy. And her boyfriend, though, is David Wysocki. And if you don't know him, he plays Greg. I know him mostly from Humongous, man, the blonde-haired kid on Humongous. He is much more fun to watch in that movie than he is in Mortuary. I'll just leave that there. But the big surprise here, man, is a very young Bill Paxton who plays Greg. His dad in the movie is, of course, played by Christopher George, and unfortunately, this is Christopher George's last film he would be in, and then he would die, unfortunately. But he did have the, and I'm trying to think, they did have on-screen time together. Lynda Day George, his wife, is also in this as Eve, and she plays Christy's mom. And so it's interesting. It's a crazy story. It's a loopy story. It's a slasher. Hysteria Continues covered this on one of their pod. And it's when I was a kid, I'm telling you, this would have been one of those movies where you rent the VHS tape because of the cover, and it's not really what you get. You get kind of a different movie. Bill Paxton, this kid, man, has got some really... there's going to be spoilers here real quick. If you don't want spoilers, you don't want to know anything about this, stop here, watch the movie, and then maybe come back and hear my thoughts. There is one sort of twist at the end. I'll leave that alone. I won't touch that. I think it's fun. I had a blast with it. Because of the Blu-ray quality, from what the VHS might have looked like, unfortunately, your killer's revealed real quick. It's hard to ignore it. Jason over at Horrific Nightmares, our Tuesday reviewer, told me, he says, when you watch it, do not look at the killer. The Blu-ray, it's too clear. You'll know who it is. And I couldn't help not looking. And I put it together pretty quick that it was our disgruntled son of course, our Christopher George character, Hank. He runs a mortuary, and his son is supposed to be his protege, Bill Paxton. But Bill Paxton's got a few bolts loose up there. He's a few cards shy of a deck, I guess, as they say. And he's got this thing for Christy. He really wants her. And he actually was being treated by her dad, who was a doctor, I guess, psychiatrist maybe, who was going to suggest that he be put in a hospital. Now, there's this mental illness in the family. Their mom has, of course, we find out, committed suicide due to mental illness. And so this is what, Bill Paxton is now suffering from this. Well, he really wants to marry Christy. Well, Dad says, absolutely not. You're out of your mind. And actually, the dad, Christy's dad, is our opening scene, our opening kill, although we don't know who the killer is. The killer is, not revealed there. Later on, when we see the killer, out in his sort of pre-Scream outfit, I want to say his pre-Ghost Face outfit, it becomes real apparent who it is. You can't hide from it, unfortunately. But we find that basically what he's doing is narrowing down the playing field real quick so that he can basically have Christy to himself. But how he wants Christy, I'll leave that alone. How he wants her, dude, this dude is a nut job. And it sort of takes you on this journey to where the end is not so different than, let's say, I'll say not so different, but it sort of reminds you of Happy Birthday to Me, or maybe April Fool's Day, the original, in terms of the end final climactic moment. But Greg will catch up. Greg will be sort of our hero throughout, who will look to protect Christy's interests, her life. And there is one great moment in the middle of the movie where Greg, or Paul, Bill Paxton's character Paul, is stalking both Christy and ends up her mom too. There ends up being a great chase between Paul and Christy. That is really fun. Unfortunately, it ends with him abducting Christy, but it's a great, I think it's one of the better I really had fun with the chasing. And I'll tell you what else I had fun with. Even though it's almost impossible not to know who the killer is just by clearly watching the Blu-ray on this, I loved having already known that. I was intrigued with the whole process of the director trying to swerve me as a viewer away from who the killer is. If you can't recognize him or clearly know who it is, there is other things going on in the film that try to deviate you away. But we find out like halfway in the film that that stuff isn't really what we thought it was going to be, or what we were being told it was going to be. And so, I mean, it's an interesting movie, actually. Definitely on the B end of things, but I think the cast overall makes it a fun movie. Lynda Day George is pretty fun to watch. Of course, Mary Beth McDonough is fun. I love, it was fun to see Wysocki again from Humongous. And I didn't realize this was Christopher George's last. So if you did not know this is his last film, there is a reason to have it right there. And his wife is in it with him, which is interesting. I'm trying to think. Not many extras around here. There might be a commentary. I don't even think there's a commentary. There is an interview with the composer, which is interesting, but that might be a trailer. Some other MVD trailers. That might be it. It's one of those movies where even if you know what's going on, you can kind of have fun with watching the process of it unfold, I guess. That makes sense. And I know I sort of gave things away, although I warned. There is a twist. I said, this sort of leads to an end that's reminiscent of something like something between A Happy Birthday to Me and or April Fool's Day. There is a twist that is held to the end. And I'm going to say that to me was really fun. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about, the final very end twist. There's a whole nother movie here, I think. Of course, there was never a sequel to this that I'm aware of. But that was interesting. I really got a kick out of that. In fact, the second time I watched it, I couldn't wait to that very end just to see that unfold again. It's fun. It's just fun. Just how it's shot, the locales used, the exteriors versus the interiors. It's a little corny. I mean, you got a roller skating piece there in the middle with some really corny music. Sort of almost reminds you of Nightmare Beach or something Italian. It just, to hear the lyrics of the song, it's just so goofy. But it's, Bill Paxton, man, to see him in a younger thing is really fun. And there's this great sort of composer moment where it involves him at the end utilizing an embalmer instrument, which he utilizes to kill, but he also uses it for another thing at the end. I'll just leave that alone. It's kind of fun. I mean, to see him act, we know him. You're like, game over, man, aliens. There's a little bit of that in here, a little bit. You kind of can see who he is or who he will be once he breaks out into some much bigger things. And so it's always fun to go back and watch somebody young. I mentioned on my Space 1999 review earlier on Another Time, Another Place, Judy Geeson guest starred on that. Of course, she's one of the three witches on Lords of Salem. As a result of Rob Zombie's love for grabbing those actors from, ages bygone and pulling them back and giving them life again. Go back and see Bill Paxton. It's pretty cool. And of course, anytime you see Christopher George is always fun. So MVD, you get a mini poster. Depending on what movie you get, you may get slammed with extras. But I'll say this, the more extras, the more you're probably going to pay. Anywhere right up to almost $30. And unfortunately, with Glenn, who lives in Canada, he paid more than that. And it's I don't know, even with all the extras, I don't know if it's worth as much as he paid. But it's, I wish you saw this line in Walmart. If this line was in Walmart for no more than, say, $24 at the high end because of the extras, it would be one of those that you could just have fun picking up. You do see the Vestras in there from time to time. at a very affordable prices. Maybe that's the answer for MVD. I don't know. Who knows? But this was definitely a fun movie to recheck out. And so I definitely would I would recommend this. Buying it, yeah, I mean, this was at the low end of MVD, so you're only looking at like $16 for this. And like I said, you get, a nice slip. And, if you don't mind not being a completist and have to have them all, and then you get the mini poster. And if it's something that reminds you of the old VHS days and you want to see that under a frame on the wall, maybe worth it to you. Or if there's another way to catch this movie, maybe Shudder or something. I didn't look out ahead to see if it was playing on anything. So anyways, Mortuary. It is MVD week, and everyone dropping reviews. Of course, MVD, man. That's our label this week. And so hope you enjoy throughout the week. Always appreciate your support and any comments you might leave behind. And just appreciate it, man. Just end here. We always end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.